guys, Miss Davis here. I am back for day 19 of the Anne Frank series. So yesterday I had a journal entry that I wanted to read out loud and I didn't get to. So I'm going to pick up right where I left off yesterday. And if anybody's curious about how I'm doing today, I am feeling a little bit less grumpy, a little bit less pessimistic than I was yesterday, although Anne Frank still has me thinking. So in this section that I want to start with today, the people are doing a lot of talking about, what are the Germans going to do? Well, they could do this, they could do that. We're trying to figure out in advance what Germany's next move is going to be with the war and with the Jewish people and the people in hiding. And so here's what I'm reminded of today. I'm thinking about how my level of uncertainty and anxiety is also of a similar fever pitch. What's the governor going to do, and what's how long is this going to last, and what is the rule going to be today? Are they really going to fine us? I heard that they canceled Regents exams today for this year, so there's just so much juggle up in the air that I'm really feeling kind of anxious because I don't know what the powers that be are going to do with us. And so I'm kind of feeling on a similar idea of what's going on in the Diary of Anne Frank. So I'm going to read that section now. It is dated Thursday, the 3rd of February, 1944. Dear Kitty, invasion fever in the country is mounting daily. If you were here, on one hand, you would probably feel the effect of all these preparations just as I do, and on the other, you would laugh at us for making such a fuss. Who knows, perhaps for nothing. All the newspapers are full of the invasion and are driving people mad by saying, in the event of the English landing in Holland, the Germans will do all they can to defend the country. If necessary, they will resort to flooding. With this, maps have been published, on which the parts of Holland that will be under water are marked. As this applies to large parts of Amsterdam, the first question was, well, what should we do if the water is in the street rises to 1 meter? The answers given by different people vary considerably. As walking or cycling is out of the question, we shall have to wade through the stagnant water. Of course not, one will have to try and swim. We shall all put on our bathing suits and caps and swim underwater as much as possible. Then no one will see that we are Jews. Oh, what nonsense. I'd like to see the ladies swimming if the rats started biting their legs. That was naturally a man. Just see who screams the loudest. We shan't be able to get out of the house anyway. The warehouse will definitely collapse if there's a flood. It's so wobbly already. Listen, folks, all joking apart, we shall try and get a boat. Why bother? I know something much better. We each get a hold of a wooden packing case from the attic and row with a soup ladle. I shall walk on stilts. I used to be an expert in it at my youth. Hank Van Santen won't need to. He's sure to take his wife on his back, then she'll be on stilts. This gives you a rough idea, doesn't it, Kit? The chatter is all very amusing, but the truth may be otherwise. A second question about the invasion was bound to arise. What do we do if the Germans evacuate Amsterdam? We'll leave the city too and disguise ourselves as best we can. Don't go. Whatever happens, stay put. The only thing to do is to remain here. The Germans are quite capable of driving the whole population right into Germany where they will all die. Yes, naturally we shall stay here, since this is the safest place. We'll try and fetch Kufius and his family over to come and live with us. We'll try and get a hold of a sack of wood wool, then we can sleep on the floor. Let's ask Meep and Kufius to start bringing blankets here. We'll order some extra corn in addition to our 60 pounds. Let's get Hank to try and obtain more peas and beans. We have about 60 pounds of beans and 10 pounds of peas in the house at present. Don't forget that we've got 50 tins of vegetables. Let me just count out how much we've got of other food, will you? 10 tins of fish, 40 tins of milk, 10 kilos of milk powder, 3 bottles of salad oil, 4 preserving jars of butter, 4 ditto of meat, 2 wicker-covered bottles of strawberries, 2 bottles of raspberries, 20 bottles of tomatoes, 10 pounds of rolled oats, 8 pounds of rice, and that's all. Our stock's not too bad, but if you think that we may be having visitors as well, and drawing from reserves each week, then it seems more than it actually is. We have sufficient coal and firewood in the house, also candles. Let's all make little money bags, which could easily be hidden in our clothing in case we want to take money with us. We'll make lists of the most important things to take. should we have to run for it, and pack rucksacks now in readiness. If it gets that far, we'll put 2 people on watch, one in the front and one in the back lot. I say, what's the use of collecting stocks of food if we haven't any water, gas, or electricity? Then we must cook on the stove. Filter and boil our water. We'll clean out some large wicker bottles and store water in them. I hear nothing but this sort of talk the whole day long. Invasion and nothing but invasion. Arguments about suffering from hunger, dying, bombs, fire extinguishers, sleeping bags, Jewish vouchers, poisonous gases, and on and on. None of it is exactly cheering. The gentlemen in the secret annex give pretty straightforward warnings. Here's an example of the following conversation with Hank. Secret annex. We're afraid that if the Germans withdraw, they'll take the whole population with them. Hank. Oh, that's impossible. They haven't the trains at their disposal. Secret annex. Trains? Do you really think they'd put civilians in carriages? Out of the question. They could use Shank's mare. Per pedes apostolorium, Dussel always says. Hank, I don't believe a word of it. You look on the black side of everything. What would be their object in driving all of the civilians along with them? Secret annex. Didn't you know what Goebbels said? If we have to withdraw, we'll slam the doors of all the occupied countries behind us. Hank, well, they've said as much already. Secret annex. Do you think the Germans are above doing such a thing? Or too humane? What they think is this. If we've got to go down, then everybody in our clutches will go down with us. Hank, oh, tell that to the Marines. I just don't believe it. Secret annex. It's always the same song. No one will see danger approaching until it's actually on top of him. Hank, but you know nothing definite. You simply suppose. Secret annex. Oh, we've been all through it ourselves, first in Germany and then here. And what's going on in Russia? Hank, you mustn't include the Jews. I don't think anyone knows what's going on in Russia. The English and the Russians are sure to exaggerate things for propaganda purposes, just like the Germans. Secret annex. Out of the question. The English have always told the truth over the wireless. And suppose they do exaggerate the news. The facts are bad enough anyway, because you can't deny that many millions of peace-loving people were just simply murdered or gassed in Poland and Russia. I'll save you further examples of these conversations. I keep myself very quiet, and I don't take any notice of all the fuss and excitement. I've now reached the stage that I don't care much whether I live or die. The world will still keep on turning without me. What is going to happen will happen. And anyway, it's no good trying to resist. I trust to luck and do nothing but work, hoping that all this will end well. Yours, Anne. Okay, so that journal entry was a little bit longer, but like I said, the feeling of anxiety, of not knowing what the authorities are going to do, the what if this and what if that, is all just like really hitting home with me today, because I don't know what, the next orders are going to be. I don't know what the next rule is going to be. I don't know what the next bit of news is going to bring, and I don't know, what's China after, what's next for us in America. How, the questions are just rolling, and so I can say I have not reached the stage where I am where Anna's at, where I don't care anymore, and that the world will go on without me. I'm not there. But I also have not been in hiding for 2 years at this point. I mean, the journal entries started, let's see, what was the first date? Sunday, June 14th, 1942. And now it is February 1944. So it's just been a long time. And so I get why she's feeling like whatever. It's all a lot to think about. So this is a little bit of a break in the clouds. These next journal entries are kind of short. I'll get through as many as I can. Next one is Saturday, the 12th of February, 1944. Dear Kitty, the sun is shining. The sky is a deep blue. There's a lovely breeze, and I'm longing, so longing for everything. To talk, for freedom, for friends, to be alone. And I do so long to cry. I feel as if I'm going to burst, and I know that I would get better with crying, but I can't. I'm restless. I go from one room to the other, breathe through the crack of a closed window, feel my heart beating as if it's saying, "Can't you satisfy my longings at last?" I believe that it is spring within me. I feel that spring is awakening. I can feel it in my whole body and soul. It's an effort to behave normally. I feel utterly confused. Don't know what to read, what to write, what to do. I only know that I am longing. Yours, Anne. So this idea of longing, and that's not a word that we really use much these days. We would say, I'm like, something's missing. I want something, but I don't know what it is that I want. That might be the word that we use, And again, she wants fun and freedom and friends and to be a regular teenage girl. And she's just like kind of sitting at the window, like, and here I am. I'm 40, so I'm an old lady now. So, I'm sitting at the window today and like kind of sighing. I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do. Everything I can think of, I'm not allowed to do right now. And the things that have become my habit, I'm definitely not allowed to do. I'm missing my classroom. I'm missing my students. I'm missing their laughter and the sound of like feet in the halls and the hustle and the bustle of teenage exuberance. I'm also longing to for normalcy and for my career, which I love so much. So I understand her from that way. I don't feel like crying. I'm getting impatient, if that makes sense. Next journal entry. Sunday the 13th of February 1944. Dear Kitty, since Saturday, a lot has changed for me. It came about like this. I longed, and I'm still longing, but now something has happened which has made it just a little less. To my great joy, I'll be quite honest about it, already this morning I noticed that Peter kept looking at me all the time. Not in the ordinary way. I don't know how, I just can't explain. I used to think that Peter was in love with Margot, but yesterday I suddenly had the feeling that that's not so. I made a special effort not to look at him too much, because whenever I did, he kept on looking too, and then, yes, then it gave me a lovely feeling inside, which I mustn't feel too often. I desperately want to be alone. Daddy has noticed that I'm not quite my usual self, but I really can't tell him everything. Oh, leave me in peace, leave me alone, that's what I'd like to keep crying out all the time. Who knows? The day may come when I'm left alone more than I wish. Yours, Anne. So, got a crush. So it's so funny how things can change in the heart of a young girl in a single day. It's been a single day. It was February 12th when she was feeling just longing and then the next day, Sunday, everything is different because she feels like, oh, something's there that wasn't there before. And I mean, that's how universal is that? That, she's just sort of realizing, oh, wait, maybe Peter likes me. Maybe I like Peter back. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to stop for the day today. We're getting kind of close to the 15-minute mark, and I don't have time for the next journal entry, but more musings between Anne and Peter when we pick up again tomorrow. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.